Okay. Uh, I am Milton Garzón. I am from Colombia. I am an accountant. I study at Universidad Autónoma de Colombia, and I have a master's degree in international audit and business management at the Universidad Europea Miguel de Cervantes. I I have been working in KPMG for 12 years, and I have been as a director for 1.5 years. This is my current position, and I am in chair for 14 people in the firm. Uh, the different position, for example, managers and audit seniors and staff and assistant. That is all about this question.
Okay. Can I just ask one thing? Because I want to be clear what you're trying to do. Are you applying to be a partner at KPMG now?
Yes, this is the next position in my career plan, and
Okay.
I am in process to do the other commitments, other responsibilities about this.
Okay. So you'll be speaking to senior people at KPMG, trying to justify why you should be a partner. Is that what you're trying to do?
Can you repeat me the question, please?
No, bueno, esto lo voy a hacer en español porque yo quiero estar muy claro. Las preguntas que yo te voy a hacer que son que tienen valor. Entonces, usted trabaja en KPMG y está a punto de entrevistar con gente en KPMG para ser un partner. ¿Es esto?
Yes, así es.
Okay, good. Okay. I think we'll do at the end. I'll give you some my comments about your answers. Okay. I have some. I'll give it. Okay. So the second question is, what can KPMG expect from you as a partner?
Okay. As a partner, I will contribute my knowledge, my experience, as well as the motivation to others to inspire an integral behavior based in KPMG values. In short way, I think that it reflects in the aspect show us the quality, the client care, trust towards the general public, and permitting us to continue growing to be the most profitable firm in the market. Through the continuous development, the continuous growing and achieving, that in the technological process that has been carried out globally for KPMG in the world.
Okay. So the third question is, can you give an example of a project where you were the leader and how you, by being the leader, increased the profitability of that project?
Okay, the main example that I remember now is in 2020, I was in charge of NL Group. This group is a big client in Colombia, and its client development their operation in the energy industry. And I increased the revenue around 40%, and the rate hours increased 20% because I sold other service related with the statutory audit, and it's related with the requirements that the company required for us or KPMG. And it's an important example that I remember because the client represent for the audit function in Colombia around 1.5 billion in Colombian pesos.
Okay, thank you. It's a good answer. In your opinion, what differentiates KPMG from the other big four companies?
Okay, I consider that KPMG is a good firm, and the difference between other firm is the human aspect that the leader showed to the people in KPMG. One example about it is when the people got out the firm to go to other firm. In some case, the people return and they told me, for example, that they prefer KPMG because the fear focus in the human skills, talk with the people, ask the people about their personal life, about their balance between the working life and personal life, and the out not only thinking about the job. And it's an important difference between other fields. I, I, I consider that about the question.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, can you give me an example of a difficult situation that you faced with a client and how you handled that situation?
Okay, when I was a senior audit, an audit senior in charge of a Prosegur group, I took the client in the second years, but in the first years, the people or the team that was in charge of this client, um, in the qualification about the service, uh, they receive a bad qualification from the client. And, and in this moment, I took the clients and changed their mind about our service because they think that the role of auditor is a saying was a saying were a saying policial service, a policial role, enemy from the client, and around through the time I was changed the meaning for them, and I built a long time of relationship for 8 years. This is an example about the question.
Okay, thank you. So why do you personally want to become a partner in KPMG?
I want to become a partner because I I will take more responsibilities and commitments because I think that is important for my professional development. For example, as a leader of a big client, because it's the best way to continue my career plan. And in the other hand, I can help others in their career plan. I consider that I can contribute with my experience that I have 12 years in KPMG, and I have a good technical knowledge and human skills that is important to mention it because the people need continue training to a leader that shows strong abilities, and I I can be a coach for them, because it's important that they can reply us in the future.
Okay. So Milton, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Okay, in in the short time, I can see as a partner, and I want to continue my career plan. Maybe I can see I can see me as a partner leader of training, but that is important position in the field, and I consider that is in line with the global objectives of the field, because the training is the best way to continue growing in the world in Colombia, and the training is the best way to get a quality in the world. And I can see maybe with the leader of the audit function, because it's an important position in the field, and is the best goals for the next 5 years.
Okay. In your opinion, what are your strengths?
Okay, I consider that I as a leader, I have 12 years of experience in KPMG, and I know the methodology. I know about the IFRS, about the new kits that help us in the development of about my job. I consider as human skills that is important, because the people usually require me about the advisor, relate with the job, relate with the with the troubles with the clients, and I have a good communication with them, and I consider a good listener. I think that is the important skills for me.
Okay. And in your opinion, what are your weaknesses?
I
Don't say you don't
I
have any.
I have a witness. Um, in my opinion, the main witness is I can never stop to work, and I consider that it's important in sometimes to stop and spend time in other activities. Maybe read about the industry when the clients develop their process, their operation, and read the news, and spend time with my family in some case, and maybe study spend more time study English. I think that is the important witnesses, because I thinking about the job all the time.
Okay. And the last question is, do you have a working plan in your mind if you become a partner in the next 5 years?
Okay, I will to continue my career plan with the next position as a partner in the firm. Uh, I want to increase the revenue and profit in the audit function in the next years, because I am in charge of the energy industry. renewables industry or renewable energy better, because its industry is growing, and I think that is an opportunity to business, and it can help us and the global propose to be the most profitable field in the market. And I will continue with my English class because it's important in my profession, in my job, and is I consider that is can help me to take more commitments in the field, maybe thinking about the mobility to other KPMG in other country, and I hope uh, to do the other master, maybe relate with the finance management, because it's a good complement in my profession, and I think that is important for my continued development. And I will to take other position next to become a partner. That is a leader of training, because I like to coach to other people. I like to learn. I like to share the knowledge, because it's the best way to all growing in the field.
Okay. Well, my first observation is your English is pretty good. Um, and it's always impressive when it's not your first language to hear somebody using English. I have a few ideas and a few comments for you. So you'll be carrying out the interview in English, is that right?
Yeah, maybe it's English and Spanish.
Okay. So the first point that I asked you was, tell me about yourself. And obviously you were telling me, who doesn't know anything about you, but the people that you'll be interviewing with, I presume will know a lot of the things already that you told me. So my observation would be that maybe you should try to tell them a little about, maybe a little bit more personal, make yourself a little bit more human. They're going to know that they work, that where you work. They're going to know what your job you do, because they obviously work in the same firm. And so, whenever I'm interviewing people or talking about interviews, the starting point is it's always nice if it's a bit more human, and you know a little bit more about the person, married, two children, or something a bit more casual. Accounting firms are very binary. It's part of what you do. And in England, we have jokes that accountants are really boring. They just focus on one thing, which is not. My father's an accountant, so don't misunderstand me. But I think maybe introducing a more human element to that. Maybe you're enjoying the football right now. The Comet Ball. Something a bit more human, as opposed to just the focus. Because everything, obviously I didn't know these things, but they're going to know those things that you told me. So maybe open up, being a little bit more loose, a bit more friendly, making yourself more personable will be
Okay.
a help. Question number 2, I thought was good. It was you answered well, nice and slow. The English was fine. This was the one where I said, what can they expect from you as a partner? I think you answered that well. Number 3, where you gave the example of a project, I thought that was a good example. I understood everything, and I think picking up on the benefits that you gave the company was good. I think number 4, what differentiates KPMG from the other big 4? I think the word that you perhaps want to use here because it's what you were trying to explain about KPMG is their ethos. I think ethos is a good word. You were trying to explain that they have a more human element and that they look after the people a bit better. So I think if you
I can hear now.
Okay, so Ernesto muted us. He obviously doesn't like me. I think if you use the word that, that I like KPMG's ethos, because then that kind of brings all of those, the human element in, the professional element in. Ethos is a good word to use to explain what you're trying to say. Because if you open up saying, what differentiates us, is that you think they have the ethos is more focused on the people. And I think ethos is a good word for you to use. Number 5 was tell us an example of difficult situations. And I think I wasn't sure you were using a word that I think was a bit of a direct translation from Spanish to English, which was a policio role or policio role. That doesn't make sense. What were you trying to say? You can say it in Spanish if you want to.
Como un rol policial, o sea, ve al auditor con un rol como no de alguien que viene a ayudarle o a asegurar que las cosas estén bien, sino ven al auditor con un rol como de un policía.
Okay, okay. So that would, oh, wow. One second.
Don't worry.
Good job, Milton.
Ahí, Ernesto.
Sorry, that one. Amazon delivery. Okay, you would not say, I don't think you wouldn't use a policial role. That doesn't translate, doesn't exist. You would maybe say, a more regulatory role, or they see us as policing as well as auditing. But policial doesn't exist. I don't worry. It happens all the time. But you would say, they see us more as and maybe an enforcer, or as policing. You can use the word, like I say, policing as well as auditing. But policial doesn't exist. Just so you know.
Okay, I got it.
No problem. I think number 6. Why do you want to become a partner? I thought it was good. I think what you were trying to say, and I think it's the best language to use, would be that you think you're ready to be a partner. And ready means that you've done everything up to this point, you've built yourself up, and now you are ready to make the next step. So I think ready is what you were trying to say, and I think it would be a good word to use. I also think that a good word to use when you're interviewing, what you were trying to say was that you can benefit from it, and so can KPMG benefit from you. So the word to use is mutual benefit. You think that you becoming a partner is a mutual benefit to the firm, because it benefits you. Because you're becoming a partner, and it benefits KPMG with all the things you discussed, your experience, your knowledge, and your desire to teach and educate. I think all these things are of mutual benefit. I think mutual benefit is a good way, because the company then feels that you're thinking about them and not just you. It makes them feel like that you care about them, because obviously, a lot of the stuff you were talking about was how it benefits you, but I think you quite clearly do also care that it should benefit KPMG. So mutual benefit is a good word. I think when it came to where do you see yourself 5 years from now, and I think this also was, we had the same question as number 10 really, which is what's your working plan. And you twice said that you have a career plan. In my mind, what would be better, because I mean, if you have a career plan, it's probably best to be very clear about what that plan is to your employer, who is KPMG. So I would have answered the question, but if somebody asked me, where do you see yourself going, and just say, look, be honest and say, I have a clear plan for my career. Tell them upfront straight away, I have a plan. Don't leave it till the end. Tell them straight away, first thing, I have a plan, and my plan is to to become an associate, was to then become a manager, and now to become a partner. And I would love to, in a few years' time, in 5 years' time, to take a step, to be head of training, make a next step. But I think explaining to them straight away that you have a plan is probably makes sense, right? It felt like the career plan came throughout the conversation. For me, I would put it out there straight away. First thing, I have a plan. And explain what that plan is. I think 8, which is what are your strengths? I think that was very good. You gave both professional and human sides to your strengths, which I think is important. I think perhaps one word that I didn't hear from you throughout the whole thing was the word team. And I think, being a team leader, you feel that team is important. So I think using the word team would be I think it was what you were trying to express, that you have you look at all the human aspects as well as the professional aspects of your, and so you're a real team player, and you care about your team, both on a professional and a human level. So I think using the word team would probably help you to explain what you're trying to explain. I think what your weaknesses were, you said you work too hard. I think maybe the way you would express that best would be to say, I'm too focused on the job. I think that's what you're trying to say. And I think that explains it quite well, that you're just too focused. And sometimes you need to change your focus away from the job. Because you have to be a little bit careful these days with stress levels and people, saying I can't leave the job. It sometimes can be viewed as a bad thing, because obviously an employer has a responsibility to you for your stress levels, etc. So I think using too focused doesn't give an impression that you're working too hard or being too stressed. It just means you find yourself focused, and you need to sometimes change that focus. So I thought it was good. The strengths were good, and I thought the weaknesses were you explained them well, but maybe using that. Try and don't play too much on. I kill myself with the job. And number 10 was pretty much the same as the 5 years. Once again. I think being upfront is on the upfront on the career plan is helpful. And you mentioned that you're involved in renewables. I think obviously that's very, very vogue right now across the globe. It's going to be a very, very big growth area. So KPMG are going to know that, and having somebody that's focused on an area that is a growth area, I think, is very valuable to them. So I think you should really use that. I would use the renewables a bit more. Perhaps look into some of the global numbers for growth in renewables, and what's going on out there. I mean, it doesn't take much to look at the world and where we're going with electric cars and with energy, clean energy, to know that it's not something that can grow. It's something that has to grow. And I think focusing on that, that is going to give you, an edge, because you're involved in one area that's guaranteed to grow. So those are my views.
Mm-hmm. All right, excellent. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Thank you for
it was really good.
Recommendation.
Sorry, we just have 2 more minutes.
No problem.
So, John, thanks again. No, it was really
Welcome
helpful,
anytime.
like always.
Okay, no problem.
So it's good. All your feedback was excellent. No, so thanks for your time. Milton, do you want to say something?
No, thank you. I love that, John. Thank you for your recommendation, for your time. For me, it's a good exercise. It's the best way to prepare my interview,
Yes, I think so.
and only grateful with you.
No, sin
Thank
problema.
you.
Y mira, te deseo mucha suerte. Ojalá la próxima vez que hablamos eres un partner y estamos haciendo una entrevista para Head of Training.
Muchas gracias, John.
Hasta luego.
Muy,
Un
muy
abrazo.
agradecido. Un feliz día para ti.
Gracias.
Okay.
Hasta luego.
Hasta
Thank
luego.
you, John.
Ahí hablamos.
Hablamos. Gracias.
Gracias, John.
Chao.
Gracias.